We are continuing on with the goals and objectives discussion. And we are, for the next couple of slides, looking at how we can use a CSR, corporate social responsibility, or CSP, corporate social performance approach to directing our processes within the organizations to make sure that we are not just achieving a profit, an economic bottom line, but also that we have a positive impact on society, people around us, the communities around us, the environment around us, our natural environment. So, corporate social responsibility pops up often in our conversations, as it should, because we only have one planet to live on and we have humans around us that we ought to care about. And so, corporate social responsibility basically says that organizations and firms that exist on our planet cannot basically just take from our natural resources and use our humans for their own profit, but they also ought to have an overall positive impact back, right? So it's reciprocity. They take some and they give some, and that seems overall pretty fair. So CSR is really just how companies manage their business processes to produce that overall positive impact on society as well as on their profit. So it's not a win-lose. It should be a win-win where everybody's better off, right? And the research that has been done shows that if you focus on CSR, you have a positive, firm economic result. So 85% of the companies in the Standard & Poor Index S&P, that's a stock market index, right? They have been starting to publish reports on sustainability in 2017 and after, and we know that from many studies that's been going on that we see a positive link between CSR or CSP, which is called corporate social performance when you look at the performance of the organization, and their financial performance. So looking at organizations that take this approach, they tend to be better off financially. So it's a win-win, right? So we also have the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and they have a slightly different definition, which is a business approach on the right hand side here, a business approach that creates long-term shareholder value. That's the stockholders, the people that own stock in the company. Long-term shareholder value by embracing opportunities and managing risk deriving from economic, environmental, as well as social developments, right? So that's the triple bottom line. And that sustainability index, they look at 5 competencies that you see on the left hand side here. So we have these 5 competencies that they would be looking at to see if an organization is corporate socially focused. So the first one is to look at strategy. See how strategy keeps coming back everywhere we go. So strategy is our overall plan for the organization, how we're going to distribute our resources across the organization to make sure we meet our mission, vision, goals, and objectives. And so if you have a strategic plan or an overall strategy that incorporates this triple bottom line, that's the first competency. And the second competency is solid financial planning, because an organization, a firm, still has to be profitable, and to make sure we pay attention to our numbers and manage them in a sustainable and effective way is very important, right? So making sure we're keeping cash on hand, managing our expenses and costs, our tangible resources, those sorts of things, especially if we are weathering a downturn like we see often, economic downturn. Third is customer loyalty and product innovation. Any organization that is a for-profit organization is selling something in the market space. We're selling products or we're selling services, and we want to make sure our customers are loyal to the organization and that we have innovation, so that we are paying attention to what our customer needs and we are innovating accordingly. And we should have these innovations with an eye to doing things well, both for the environment, the social aspect, as well as economically. So again, keeping that triple bottom line for in the forefront there. Governance and stakeholder engagement. So as we are running our organization, we are paying attention to all the stakeholders within the organization, and that ranges from the shareholders to employees to people outside the organization, but ensuring that we have management structures and communication structures within the organizations to make that happen. And of course, we pay attention to our people, how we manage our people, and how we make sure that we are giving them rewards and benefits, compensating them appropriately, as well as also paying attention to job satisfaction and engagement. So those are the 5 competencies. So how do you actually measure corporate social performance? Because we are paying attention to economic dimension, natural environment dimension, and the social dimension. It can be somewhat subjective, I should say, because there's a number of different measures we can be using for all those 3 dimensions, actually, right? So which ones you pick might be different from which ones I would pick to measure it, and that's what makes it subjective. So there is a Boston-based firm that is focusing on actually these corporate social performance of organizations. And so they are rating businesses on aspects that would relate to CSP. They also do research on all of these publicly traded firms to see how they're measuring up against these metrics. And then they produce reports, including statistics to those who want to invest money in these organizations, in these firms. So they are paying attention to what companies are doing well in the CSP space, and then they are producing that. So as any analyst would, investment analyst or portfolio manager or what have you. So this CLD database have these ratings then showing us strengths and concerns along these CSP dimensions. And as would be expected, they are investing money in the market. So they have social investments funds where the companies in these funds are doing better on the CSP dimensions. And in 2014, so these numbers are from the textbook, and there might be some later numbers, but in 2014, the Domini, right, Domini Social Equity Fund that was developed by this firm outperformed the S&P 500. And they managed quite a bit of money. So in 2018, they managed over $2 billion. So some of the dimensions that you see on the right-hand side, such as community, product quality and safety, employee relations, environmental, which is the natural environment, corporate governance, and diversity. So these are dimensions that can be looked at for corporate social performance. At the end of the day, we want to invest in companies that has great leadership. We want to invest financially with our money, right, on the stock market in companies that have solid leadership, where leaders have a vision for the organization. They know how to create strategy, and they know how to take care of their resources, including their human resources, because these well-managed companies will do better in the stock market than poorly managed companies will. That's going to wrap it for the CSP CSR audio video. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.